fund. I think they're going to rival mutual funds.
100%.
So,
and that's such a crazy. I mean, I think the combination of the way that you think about this and the way that the world that we're kind of speaking to thinks about this is an interesting divide in itself, because what you're saying I completely agree with. But it's so interesting to see how the communities themselves would almost rather not think of themselves like that, despite that exactly being what it ultimately is. So seeing how that will bridge over time is going to be very interesting, but I'll let you keep going.
yeah, I think crypto is so. I mean, Raoul Pal says it's the biggest thing to happen in finance since the Renaissance, like in 500 years. And I don't think that's hyperbole. It's sort of like, tell me the origin of jazz. I mean, it's actually a very, very complicated thing. Like, people say, like, well, it's like hymnals and slaves, but it's like, and I think people don't understand that crypto is going to be completely mainstream much faster than they realize. And I mean, that's why Facebook just changed their name. That's why Franklin Templeton manages $1.5 trillion. Okay, that's a big number. That's 1,500 billion, right? It's all in stocks and bonds. There's very, very little value in any of it. And what do you mean there's no value? Okay, so on the bond side, bonds pay like less than 2%. And very few people talk about that. There's just no good reason to own a bond fund. Then on the stock side, the market's being driven by the FANG stocks: Facebook, Apple, Google, Microsoft, the big giant meta tech. And decentralization, DeFi and decentralized systems are shooting the FANG stocks right between the eyes. So you might as well get on with it now, because there's $35 trillion worth of fluff. I mean, I know that's a really extreme thing to say, but it's not to we won't even get into interest rates. If interest rates just stay exactly where they are, the markets are in trouble. If interest rates so much as just drift up a little bit, it'll completely wreck prices of everything. That's a whole nother rabbit hole. But I'm over this week I was talking to Gene. You know who Gene is?
Right.
All right, let me kill this. There's Gene right there. Sorry, Gene, I'm on with, I'm just going to tell her I'm on with you.
Is Gene in here?
No, I should tell her to get on.
I mean, she wants to. Yeah. I mean, she can at least listen in.
Hold on. Hey, Gene. I'm on with Cody. Join us. Anyways, I did a video this week, and I think Jean really liked it. She said you should elaborate more on that. So I went in and I said, let's just take the Pittsburgh Dow, right? Or Dow Square. They're sort of all the same thing. And what's the portfolio going to look like? And I started to work on this new idea of like explaining that everybody has these mutual funds and they own 60-40 or something like. In my business, we talk about 60-40. It's like in this, you talk about like we need the drum track and the bass line and it's like the core of like how things work. And so conventionally, you have like 60% stocks, 40% bonds. But if you have bonds that very few people know this, if you have bonds that aren't paying you anything, they have enormous risk. Like no one gets this. People think when you buy a bond fund, it can't go down. They think it's like a CD at the bank. It's not. Their bonds are actually a lot like a stock. They move in price. Okay. So then we have the whole stock market being driven, like I said, by 5 or 6 companies. We call them the FANGs. So I think what would happen in these DAOs is we'd build something like the new 60-40. And the 60% would be, in the crude term, crypto, but much better term would be digital assets or even social tokens. And then on the bond side, what we could do is give people access to asset classes that only private equity has, only rich people have. I mean, there's really not a good way to have exposure, let's say, to real estate or like farmland in your 401k and IRA. There just isn't. People have tried to do it, and I could explain why it's difficult. But the structures of mutual funds force you into stocks and bonds, and I always say it's like being forced to eat burgers and fries. It doesn't matter if you're at Arby's or Wendy's or Burger King or McDonald's. You're eating the same thing. It's the 60/40, it's the burgers and fries, it's the stocks and bonds. So the DAOs, because of their very nature, they're so simple to set up. They're so cost effective. I mean, to set up a mutual fund to set up a mutual fund company would be like $10 million. To set up a individual mutual fund would be like 1.5 million. We're going to be able to set up a DAO for like 50,000. So we're going to be able to I like to say we're going to be able to make these things like a pizza shop. Like once you build one and you know how the oven works and you know what temperature and the dough and this, we'll just be able to I told my attorney 2 Fridays ago, I said, next year we're going to produce these en masse. And he was like, wow, I get it. I like it. So, yeah, that's the big top level. I think the internal level, this is all new to me. Like, what does this mean? I think your generation are going to do completely different things with your money. It just makes no sense for everybody to just keep pouring their money into the stock of Facebook and Apple and Google. It just doesn't do anything, or even Tesla. Okay, great. Tesla's worth $1 trillion. Does that move the needle on renewable energy? No. You follow me? It's like saying if I place a bet on the Pittsburgh Steelers game today, I could make money that way, right? But that doesn't mean that I own the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right.
I'm not like one of the Rooney's partners. I'm just So everybody's like sort of just long ago. There's coming out of 2008, 2009. I was in a chat room, or not a chat room, but just looking at the comments, and someone in some comment somewhere referred to our economy as the neo-feudal gulag casino economy. I think that's so funny. Like neo-feudal means like it's controlled by like 500 people. And like the gulag casino means like you're in this casino effect where you have to speculate and you have to take risk that you're probably not really going to get rewarded on. And the only thing making all this work is inflation. And lastly, I'll say, like talking about like a farm DAO or something like that. My dad and I were going to watch my daughter's volleyball game, and we stopped.
Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave the close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Though wise men at their end, no dark is right, because their words had fought no lightning they. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Though wise men at their end, no dark is right, because their words had fought no lightning they. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light.
house.